Welcome back to Rookie Watch with Dylan Finney, who today has a huge opportunity to go up to superstar development. It's a good matchup for it too. It's against the New Orleans Saints, who we blew out all the way back in week 2. Finney had a sack and an interception in that game. We'll see if he can have a repeat performance. It's also our last divisional game, which makes it a big deal for the playoff race. We need a fair bit of help to catch the Bucks, but winning is equally important for the wild card race. The Saints offense has had a decent start here, but good coverage on 2nd and 7 results in a sack. That would effectively end the drive. Atlanta gets on the board first with a field goal. Now a 3rd down, and it's knocked away by A.J. Terrell. Nice play. But a lot of defense in the first quarter, and the Saints have the ball again to start the second. Finney coming in on the blitz, but can't get there in time. That's a catch for DJ Moore. And you can already tell we're trying to get some numbers for Finney today. Unfortunately, he's picked up by the running back, so no sack there either, but 3rd and 19 after a couple of backwards plays. This play will fall short of field goal range. However, Lamar Jackson immediately threw an interception. A couple of plays later, the Saints are on the 1-yard line. Read option, though, with Justin Herbert is not going to work out very well. Dylan Finney takes him down. They try it again, and this time he's going to lose the football. Andrew Crawford, the one to pick it up, and there's nobody in front of him. John Harbaugh brought the Lamar Jackson playbook to New Orleans. I cannot fathom why he thought that was a good idea. But Crawford's dancing all alone, not paying attention to where he's going, and he ran out of bounds, but it doesn't matter, as Herbert was clearly down. They'd kicked the field goal, but then on the next play from scrimmage, Lamar Jackson threw a pick six. He did respond by leading a touchdown drive, but now it's 10-10, so a whole lot of scoring all of a sudden, and the Saints are threatening to do so again. 48 seconds to go in the half. They are driving. Dumping off to Algier. Queen can't make the play, but Finney takes care of it. Probably more worried about yards than the first down at this point. And on this play, we got the receiver Alberry against Patrick Queen. If I'd identified it pre-play, I could have given a little better help. We do add a field goal early in the second, and there's a big hit on Herbert from Dylan Finney. 2nd TFL of the day. I think you know what that means. Certainly helps with this playbook. Finney lays a hit to make it a 4th down, so they'll come out for a 49-yard field goal. That'll keep it a 1-score game. But no, it's a fake. They've got a tight end wide open. That's Daniel Bard. He's not quite going to make it to the end zone, but they'd score on the next play. Atlanta's only able to respond with another field goal, so just barely still a 1-possession game. Saints have a 3rd down now early in the 4th quarter. They're going to throw for it. Herbert dumps it off to his running back and stopped short by Dylan Finney. They'd pinned the Falcons at the 1-yard line, but a 99-yard touchdown drive with the 2-point conversion ties up this game. And with under 4 minutes to go, another 3rd down stop for this defense, but the Saints are going to stay on the field. They're trying to run for it, and they have no chance. So great field position for Atlanta. They do score, but only used 3 passing plays. Should have considered running down the clock some more, as Herbert tries the deep ball on 1st down. It's quickly 3rd and 2, but they're going to pick it up easily. Terrell can't bring down Bard, and Finney knocks him out of bounds. Across midfield now, still have all 3 timeouts. Another dump off to Algier, and another broken tackle for him as well. Finney doing a lot of cleanup on this drive. 40 seconds to go, still all 3 timeouts. Middle of the field completely vacated. More yardage for the running back. And Eli Moore beats Finney on the drag route. We go to overtime. Falcons score first, but only 3, so the Saints have a chance to respond. Screen pass to Algier, and Finney was there but couldn't make the tackle. Got a little too excited and forgot his form. But it's 4th and 4 for the Saints. Throws it up to DJ Moore, and it's intercepted by A.J. Terrell. That'll end the game. I think he did have Bard open on the other side of the field in the flat. Finney got picked a little bit. He did have a shot at getting more, though, just underthrew him. It really should not have taken overtime to beat this team. They were carried by a combination of Tyler Algier breaking tackles and Lamar Jackson throwing interceptions. And I'm annoyed at myself for letting that fake field goal happen. I've been playing the ones where when I sim it, they often go for it, and sometimes that does mean a fake. I just picked the normal block out of reflex, and it rarely works anyways, but it did there. Herbert played much better in this one than in the last one, but they did kill some early drives when they tried to do the whole pistol option thing. They abandoned that in the second half and it helped them out. But the big takeaway from this one, aside from the win, is that Dylan Finney is going to be a superstar, so that's pretty exciting. Didn't have a lot of great options for superstar ability. I ended up going with Reach Elite. Just thought it might help in the run game at least, since he has such bad block shedding. I'm not sure if that's been upgraded at all this year, even though this is, I think, the 4th run support upgrade. But his tackling ability is certainly getting better, and flying all over the field making tackles with him has been really, really fun. He just needs to be better at actually making those tackles, especially since I'm addicted to the hit stick. Anyways, here's your other results around the league. Big one to note is that the Commanders upset the Buccaneers, perhaps trying to change the perception of themselves. I've been looking at it as whoever gets the top wildcard seed is going to have an easy matchup against them because they're just kind of winning the AFC East, or rather the NFC East, by default. But maybe that won't be the case. Big upset, Bears over the 49ers in San Francisco. That could shake things up. And Miami blows out New England, which will shake things up as well. For us this week, we're taking on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Numbers aren't looking quite as good this year, but still very good. They were reeling early in the year, it seemed, from the loss of Joe Mixon. They are 8-5, same record as us actually. But the offense is still pretty stacked, especially at wide receiver, and they only have 2 losses outside the division. They're facing an early third down here. Joe Burrow's almost going to run into a sack. He just throws this one away a long ways. And Atlanta gets the first score of the game. It's 7-0. Handoff to Hayward. He breaks this one outside. It's a big gainer. Actually his second big run in a row, and it gets the Bengals across midfield. Couple plays later, Joe Burrow throws to Jamar Chase. He's going to pay for it, but he hangs on through the hit from Finney. Finally, on 3rd and goal, Hayward's going to have about 4 holes to choose from for the touchdown. But Atlanta scores again. The Bengals only have an 80 overall defense, I think. And man, how come those random misses on the run never goes directly to my defender like it does when I'm the quarterback? This one's right to me though, and I just got too excited. And when I get excited, I hit the hit stick. That's a little bit embarrassing. Chance at a pick. Instead, they're going to get some yardage out of it, and they kept the drive going. Joe Burrow's been electric, and he finds Hayward out of the backfield. Carmichael can't catch up. It's a tie game. 2nd and 19 after a holding call, and these linebackers are getting way too deep. Burrow's got 2 guys wide open 10 yards downfield. Finney stops Chase a few yards short, but they would convert on 3rd down. So it helps that we're going to get another sack here, thanks to a slow play action. That would lead to this 3rd down. Dulcich has it, but Finney stops him short. Apparently, though, that's enough that they're going to send Evan McPherson out there. A 64-yard attempt, and he nails it. And with very little game time passed, the Bengals are at midfield again. I was in the zone, should have caught on to that a little sooner. Blitz coming now, and I thought that was going to be a sack for Finney, but Burrow tripped over Patrick Queen instead. So 3rd and 12 with 10 seconds to go. Burrow just flings it in the direction of Chase, and it's picked off by Chris Simmons. How many times has he done that recently? It'll save us 3 points, but the Bengals start the half with the football. They're up across midfield again. Now into the red zone, but it's 3rd and 10. Dulcich has been Burrow's safety blanket, and he's going to be it again here, but he's wrapped up. It'll stay a 1-score game, but Atlanta has really slowed down on offense here. Haven't been getting good punts either. Burrow's got lots of time but can't find anything. He's sacked. But once again, they pick up 15 yards on 2nd down and convert on 3rd down. Those middle depth zones have not been effective today. Burrow's just exploiting any weakness. Just inside the Atlanta 30 here, dumps off to Hayward, and it's picked off by Crawford. Hayward didn't feel him there and just backed up a little bit, and the Falcons offense would finally wake up. They get 3 more points. Touchdown would have been nice, but Burrow running for his life. He loses the football, but one of his linemen falls on it somehow. That would kill the drive though. And the Falcons take the lead. However, Ted Lidge missed the extra point, and Dylan Finney almost picked this ball off. It's in his hands here, but he runs arms first right into T. Higgins and can't hold on. Could have been a huge play for the Falcons. Instead, it's just an incompletion, which is still meaningful, but this offense has been really tough to stop today. And Dulcich is going to be on the receiving end of some more frustration from Finney. That'll make it a 3rd and 7. Downfield coverage good, but Finney can't make the tackle on Hayward, and he's just going to pick up the first. That might really hurt if the Falcons can't hold the Bengals to a field goal here. 5.5 to go. Burrow passing from under center. Dulcich is wide open. I think Finney thought it was a run play. Does make a nice tackle there, but it's another mistake for the rookie. 3rd and 5 for the Bengals. 4 minutes to go. Burrow escapes, and he's got some grass in front of him. Crawford stops him, but he's all the way down to the 2. All the big men on the field. 3.5 minutes to go. Both teams have all their timeouts. It's going to be a handoff to Hayward, and Finney is back there. There's a big tackle. 2nd and goal now. Clock is ticking. It's a fake handoff. Burrow has a man open. Touchdown Bengals, and it appears that the Falcons were not able to respond. Let's take a look at what happened. What are you doing? We had 3 timeouts too. I don't mind running the ball on 4th and 1, but we had all 3 timeouts, and we were moving the ball too. EA, you have got to fix your stupid game. Of course, that's not the only snafu in this one. I don't feel like we really deserved to win. It felt like a full team loss. Finney included on that. I definitely made some poor plays. Just being a little too aggressive. We were really only in that game because of those interceptions, but it really would have helped if the offense hadn't just disappeared for 2 quarters again. Anyways, here's your scores around the league. Do note the Bucks beat the Cowboys. They've all but clinched the division, but the Cowboys losing does help us in our wild card chase. Seahawks lose as well, which will help. And this week we've got the 7-7 Steelers, another AFC North matchup. Najee Harris is starting to drop off a little bit, but he puts up a ton of touchdowns. I think has 16 this year. Not great receivers on this team. We talked about it a lot last year. They do have the young tight end Eric Brooks, who I really like. Steelers have the ball first, and they're going to go run heavy. Harris survives a hit from Finney, but he's taken down quickly after. 2 punts later, it's 1st and 10 for the Steelers. And I think this is that reach elite ability kicking in for Finney. A couple plays later, it's 3rd and 2. Harris finds an opening and jumps right into a Falcons' arms. It will be a 1st down, but kind of a funny looking play. Unfortunately, they'd keep punking their way down the field. Here's Javon Kitchen making a catch. I thought he was a little short, but it's marked a 1st down. Good pickup on 1st and goal makes it 2nd and goal from the 3. And there's Brooks for the first time, a touchdown for the Steelers. Atlanta can't answer, but they do pin the Steelers back at the 2-yard line. And here I think Brooks tripped Harris, lost maybe half a yard. Now Queen meets him at the goal line. They're going to say he got out. There's a holding call, however. So a loss of a yard either way. The Falcons will accept to try and get an extra shot at the safety. Not going to happen here. Harris gets that yard back. 3rd and 10, so 4th try at it. You always got to get excited about it when the ball is pinned this deep. And Finney comes right through, knocks Harris to the ground. That's a safety. Great play by the rookie. That big hit mentality has gotten him in trouble at times, but it works out here. Off the safety punt, we get a field goal, so it's Pirates 7, Braves 5. As Harris gets a little bit of revenge on Finney there. Not much else to show in this quarter, but the Falcons do take the lead, and the Steelers are immediately threatening to take it back, and they will do so. Really poor coverage on that play. Don't think they have the right personnel. It's Brooks for a touchdown again, but somehow the Falcons answered, so it's 19-14 at halftime. Wish they could have done that at the end of last week's game. They add a field goal to start the second half, so midway through the 3rd quarter, it's 22-14. 3rd down, Tua throws it straight to Patrick Queen. All kinds of space in front of him. Tunga Vailoa giving chase, but he's not going to be able to cut him off, and that's going to be a huge swing in this game. This defense is really streaky, but they excel when they get turnovers. Unfortunately, the key word in there is spotty. The Steelers have gone right down the field, and they'll get a touchdown. That's Joshua Felton working on Simmons, who is supposed to be a man coverage specialist. The Steelers did not succeed on the 2-point conversion, however. So it's 29-20, and Dylan Finney is showing Felton what he thought of that touchdown. Bit of a warning shot, I suppose. 9 minutes to go in this one. Tua dumps it off to Najee Harris. He throws Queen to the ground. Finney cleans it up, though, so no additional yardage. 3rd and 5. Might have picked the wrong guy to cover here, but Felton's out of bounds. However, they would pick it up on 4th down. Down to the 6 now is Pittsburgh. And now it's zone specialist A.J. Terrell not doing his job. Touchdown Felton. The Steelers get the ball back almost immediately. It's 27-29. They just need a field goal to take the lead. And despite that run stop, Pittsburgh is driving. Atlanta run committing on this play, and they're wrong. Tight end wearing number 42 is going to fight his way into the end zone. I did accidentally click on. It was my guy, but I don't really regret it. They were going to get the lead anyway, so they might as well score fast. Speaking of scoring fast, Atlanta is driving, and they're going to tie the game with 23 seconds to go. Carlos Townsend into the end zone. 20 seconds, all 3 timeouts for Pittsburgh. Kitchen on the sideline can't get his feet in. It's going to end up being a Hail Mary, time expiring. Looks like this ball is going to be a little short of the end zone, and if Eric Brooks had gotten his hands up, that could have been a miracle finish for Pittsburgh. Instead, it's a 1-point loss. 382 yards and 5 touchdowns for Tua. Did have the pick 6 as well. Also a really good game for Lamar Jackson, although the consistency is still a problem. Bad run game for both teams. Najee Harris averaged under 2 yards carry on his last 9. Finney was all over the place in this game. I think more of those tackles should be solo tackles. The way the game counts it seems like a broken tackle isn't truly a broken tackle unless they get somewhere. So a lot of those cleanup plays, he's getting an assist when he's really the guy who brought the ball carrier down. Of course, in real life, that's not really something that's actually well defined. It's up to the scorer for the home team, I believe, which is okay. I think that is really a judgment call in a lot of cases. I think it's a stat that probably matters more in Madden than it does in real life. So we move to 9-6, and we're going to take on the 8-7 Cowboys. Somehow they're doing okay with Greg McCain at quarterback. Seems to me they might as well start the rookie in Sean Cunningham, but I guess he's only 2 years younger. And McCain actually looks decent. His awareness is really low, but that's a stat that doesn't matter nearly as much as it should, at least in actual gameplay. And he's pretty athletic, and considering the overall rating, he's putting up decent numbers, probably just because he's in Dallas and Madden loves them. Dante Dalton is their highest rated running back, but most of the touches go to Jermaine Williams, a first-round pick a couple of years ago. However, where this offense really shines is the wide receivers CeeDee Lamb and Chris Olave. Plenty of depth behind them as well. Cade Otton, who we saw a lot of in Tampa Bay, has now moved here. Looks like just this year. Dalton Schultz is regressing at age 34, so they thought, hey, why not bring in a 31-year-old? The Cowboys will start this one on offense, and McCain immediately throws the ball off the hands of Crawford. They would punt, and the Falcons would punt it right back, but to the 1-yard line. They're trying to pass. McCain sails it out of bounds in the direction of his tight end, and there's a holding call, but somehow it was on the one offensive lineman who's not in the end zone, so no safety, and they would end up getting out of there. I believe a win for the Cowboys would actually put them in line for the 7 seed, as here's a nice tackle for Finney coming around the edge, whereas a loss would essentially knock them out. Third down here, Nickerson breaks the tackle from Finney, but lost the first down on the second effort. They'd punt, but still no offense here for the Falcons. Dallas's defense is only an 81 overall, although they still have Micah Parsons going for it on the edge of field goal range, and they're going to be stuffed. We're into the second quarter now, still no scoring, and Finney flying into the backfield. I think he was fooled by the play action, but figured it out in time to get the sack. That's going to make it 3rd and 8. Coverage looking good downfield. Actually, Nickerson is wide open, but McCain doesn't see it. He's going to try to run, and Finney all the way across the field makes the play. And at long last, the Falcons get into the end zone, but Cam Wooden didn't see Nickerson going into the flat. That'll allow a 58-yard attempt for Tyler Bass. And I was messing with the formation subs for field goals, and apparently didn't get Finney in here, so I was looking for him here. In the meantime, though, Bass is going to miss that kick, so it stays 7-0 going into the second half. A lot of passing today for the Cowboys, and look at Finney sticking to CeeDee Lamb. Dallas would pick up a few more yards, but it's 3rd and inches. And no wonder they don't have Dante Dalton starting, because he just missed an obvious hole for an easy first down. Still 7-0 late in the third. Look at Finney sticking to Nickerson like glue. That'll lead to a coverage sack. It's Hernandez, who I only recently learned is named Richard, not Ronnie. I've been calling him that all season. I think I once called him Richie in my head, and that turned into Ronnie. McCain escaping here, but Finney's going to blast him. The ball comes out. Patrick Queen picks it up. That would lead to the second score of the game. 10-0 Falcons. 10 to go in the game. The screen pass is bouncing around and lands in the arms of Patrick Queen, a good 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be a touchdown. 17-0 Falcons, and that might be the goofiest pick six I've ever seen. McCain is only trying to throw the ball about 5 feet. Tyler knocks it down. Queen misses it on the first try. It bounces back to him off of Tyler. Unfortunately, though, it looks like the shutout will not stand. Play action fooled me there, and I wasn't expecting a second cut on that route. Good move by the tight end, whose name is escaping me at the moment. There he is again to convert a 4th down. That'll keep the Dallas comeback hopes alive, but only a minute to go and 1 timeout. They're not looking likely. Just sending everybody downfield at this point. McCain bails on a clean pocket. He's just going to fling this one. No idea where that was going. I wish it had gone straight to Finney. Instead, 3rd and 6, 52 seconds left in this one. I think everybody but the Cowboys offense is just waiting for this to be over, but McCain flings it downfield. Olave hauls it in with one hand, I think. Fortunately, we'd recover the onside kick, so 17-14 is your final score. Don't know how McCain ended up with an 81.5 completion percentage, but Lamar Jackson went 13 of 18 for 121 yards. What is our play calling? This is a game where we essentially had one scoring drive on offense. Pretty good game for Finney, maybe aside from that last play. A TFL, a sack, and a forced fumble. The long touchdown at the end was doubly my fault. Cover 3 was the wrong call, considering that they'd ran 4 verts or something like it the play before and would probably do that again. And then I basically had 2 receivers to choose from. Terrell was kind of on one, so I went with the other, but I really should have just focused on getting deep. The CPU just doesn't throw the ball deep very often, so it's rare that I have the chance to practice it. The Bucs officially clinched the division by beating the Saints, dominating them in fact, but thanks to a 3rd straight loss for the Seahawks, this time to the lowly Raiders, we clinched the 6th seed, and with a win this week and a Cardinals loss, we could even move up to the 5 seed, as we beat them all the way back in week 2. It's not out of the question for Denver to beat them, but it doesn't seem highly likely. Meanwhile, we play the Browns, and this should be a winnable game. They've only got 5 wins on the season, but you really never know with this Falcons team. And remember, the Browns drafted a quarterback in the middle of the first round this year, but they extended Stachelski anyways. They're going to pay him a little under $30 million a year for the duration of the other quarterback's rookie contract. Interesting decision. Honestly, I don't think they should have tried replacing him in the first place. They've got a couple young running backs who will split the load and a decent receiving core. And before we get into this game, one last upgrade for Finney. Unfortunately, this is terrible and almost useless. A 3-point upgrade all in stuff that doesn't really matter. Ah well. Falcons go 3 and out, so the Browns have the ball. Here's the rookie Barnes wearing number 48. Finney makes first contact in the backfield. But here's a big hole on 3rd and inches. Finney just gets enough of him this time. And the Browns dink and dunk all the way down the field, down to the 6-yard line. Evan Hunter into the end zone. The run defense is looking pretty rough today. Cardinals up to an early lead on the Broncos as well. Falcons do respond to the field goal, and it's 3rd and 19. But some horrible zone defense is going to allow them to get the first down. This team needs to fire its defensive coordinator. I know that's kind of me, but I'm only controlling one defensive back, and he was doing his job. Speaking of, Finney's gonna rail Barnes, and this was starting to feel like a game in which Finney was the only guy doing anything on the defense. And when a safety is making all your plays and he's not even playing in the box, you're not going to get a lot of stops. Here's Stachelski on the read option, and Finney all the way from the other side of the field is the only one there to make the play. Now we've got a linebacker who doesn't know how to play man coverage. He can't even make the tackle. Finney has to do that for him. But after all that work, he's out of gas. And the moment he takes a breather, the Browns get an easy touchdown. Have to think Finney could have done something about it. And immediately afterwards, Lamar Jackson throws an interception. Literally first play of the following drive. Thankfully, Crawford breaks up the pass here, but after an offsides on the field goal attempt, they're going to go for it. And the defense makes up for the interception, so what's Lamar Jackson do? He goes ahead and throws another one. So it's another opportunity for Mike Stachelski and the Browns. He's going to find Mullins again for a first down, and seriously, what are we doing here? Terrell is on him and moves back for no reason. Unlike the last time, it's not like anybody's going to come over the top. He has like 95 zone coverage. So goal to go, Burks open over the middle, and I swear I lined up that perfectly and the game just made Finney miss. Somehow we did actually get a field goal before halftime, but this is just not the Falcons' day. Finney coming from the backside can't get enough of Barnes to make the tackle. Cleveland is in scoring range again. 2nd and 6, coverage good for once. Stachelski staring deer in the headlights, and this one's picked up by Tyler. He's got nothing but green ahead of him, but he is not fast. He does not look like he's got a lot of energy left, and he's going to go down at the 4, but the Falcons score on the very next play, so they're right back in this one if they can get a stop, and I haven't seen the run defense be this bad all year. 37-yard score for Travis Hunter. They get the ball right back to boot, 28-13. Read option on 3rd and 4, and Queen can't even stop him from reaching out for the first down. That's embarrassing. We'll have another chance on 3rd and 13 though. He'll just check down to Burks. So Atlanta does get another stop. The Falcons would take advantage of it this time, 20-28. No 2-point conversion attempt yet. We've got under 10 minutes to go in this one. Defense has struggled, but they're going to stack up Hunter on this run play. Big loss on first down, but it would not lead to a stop. Finney caught watching the backfield a little. He will make the tackle. It would lead to a first down, of course, but 3rd and 4 now for the Browns. Stachelski throws quickly, and somehow that's intercepted by Andrew Crawford. Spun around, reached up, and pulled it down. Atlanta scores, but it's only a field goal. It was 4th and 18, so can't really fault the decision, but it is disappointing. They need a stop now, and that's going to help. Another sack for Tyler. I don't think he's had a whole bunch this season, but he's showing up now. With under 2.5 to go, Atlanta spends its first timeout. So 2nd and 20 now. We'll see how aggressive they go. Looks like Stachelski wants it all back, and it's intercepted by Simmons, leaping over Bradham to give the Falcons the ball at the 50, but it's another interception for Lamar Jackson. Down at the 17, it was only 2nd down. They had a timeout left, had a chance, and Jackson just threw the ball away again. Ultimately, this game didn't really matter. The Cardinals won handily against the Broncos, but it's a really demoralizing note on which to go into the playoffs. Defense was really bad for the first half, picked it up in the second half, but the offense was putrid for most of the game, and any good they did was poisoned by those interceptions. I mean, if Lamar just doesn't throw 2 in a row at the end of the first half, we probably win that game. We will have a chance in the playoffs, however. I don't expect it to go far, but you never know. Like I did with Eric Lamb's playoff run, I do want to somehow avoid timestamp spoilers. But we had max 3 games in that one, and this one is a max of 4 if we do make it to the Super Bowl. I thought about just saying that I'd only do 2 games per episode max, and then if we lose after an odd number of games, then I can just do some filler, but I think those episodes would just be too short, so expect a decent length episode that just might have some filler. Of course, we've got a tough matchup in the 49ers. Their comeback against the Lions in Week 18 stalled, and the Bucs passed them, but they are a 13-4 team, so very possible we go one and done. Despite their incredible season, I do think they are beatable. If we don't, it's possible I just go straight into doing the offseason and the draft, but I'll figure out how to handle that when I get to it. I'll let you look at the rest of this bracket yourself, but do note the Jets are back in the playoffs. They did come back and win the division for the first time since Hargrove's rookie season. The Bucs won their last 4 games, which makes me feel better about dropping a few along the way. 10 wins is honestly a really good result for this team, although I think I did set a goal of making the playoffs. It's just nice to know that we probably couldn't have caught the Bucs anyways. The Lions, though, go 15-2. The rest of the division was really bad to start the year and ended up just being mid. In the NFC East, the Commanders end up winning 11 games, totally respectable for a division winner. Still a couple games behind the 2 and 3 seed, of course. And the Giants did manage to pull out a wildcard spot. Meanwhile, the Eagles lost 8 straight. We really should not have lost to that team. The Niners, as mentioned, went 13-4. Cardinals, who we beat 12-5 as a wildcard team. First bad year for the Seahawks in this series. They lost 4 straight to drop out of the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Bengals finished at 10-7, actually lost their last 2 after beating us. The Texans had a really good year. The Colts were actually over 500 with Brock Purdy. Jets, as mentioned, pull out the division win, but the Bills and Patriots both make it at 9-8. I guess the Colts were the odd team out in that wild card race. Tough for them. The Dolphins have been pretty stagnant the last few years, it seems. 5-7 wins every year. The Chiefs come back and take the AFC West by a couple of games. Kyler Murray broke his collarbone and missed the end of the season. The Chargers were starting their rookie quarterback. He did pretty well, but it certainly affected him. And the Rams are the worst team in the league, 3-14, losing their last 6 to hold on to that top pick over the Eagles. Lots of loss streaks for these teams, but do notice the Raiders won their last 2. After Blackman returned, I thought that they were going to pull out of the bottom earlier, but it took them until week 17, at which point maybe they should have just kept losing. Lots of teams in here could be going after those top 3 quarterbacks, although I'm sure a couple teams probably will not have interest, such as the Jaguars. And as always with the regular season over, let's look at stats. Lamar Jackson was pretty disappointing, has been disappointing. It's not just this year for the Falcons. I meant to mention at some point, but this team is using Frank Reich's playbooks with the Colts. I'm assuming that plays into it because this offense is supposed to be pretty high-powered, and it's just bad. I wish that you could just turn off playbooks being a thing. I get the idea behind it, but they have way too much impact. Run game was atrocious. Plenty of yards for McDowell, but only 3.3 yards a carry. 2 receivers over 1,100 yards, 900 for Pitts. 650 for Judge is pretty good at the 3rd receiver. If this offense was properly run, I think all 4 could be over 1,000. Dylan Finney leads the team in tackles, 100 solo, 24 more than the next guy. I think that's relatively rare for a safety to do. Led with 23 TFLs as well, 4 sacks and 2 picks. All but 1 sack of which came within the first few games. I tried to make more happen, just couldn't. I feel like it's harder in more recent editions of Madden to bait interceptions. Maybe I'm just not good at it. Simmons, though, 7 interceptions, 6 for Queen, 4 for Crawford. Those were some really big plays for this defense. If all those guys just had a floor of average coverage, this defense would have been a lot better. Finney forced 9 fumbles, and somehow we only recovered 7 total as a team, which seems like a pretty bad rate. Can't complain too much, though, since you get way more fumbles in-game than you do when simming. And then, of course, Finney had the 1 safety, and we had 5 touchdowns on the defense, 2 of them by Queen in the last couple games. Second-year quarterback of the Packers, Greg McLaughlin, leads the league in yards, almost 5,500, 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Big gap between him and the next 2 guys, Burrow and Lawrence. Edwards and Hargrove come in 4th and 5th place, respectively. Certainly looks like the best simmed year for Hargrove yet. And it looks like Cooper Shields of the Bucs led the league in touchdowns. I think they do still have Bucs playbook active, so that helps, but he's been pretty prolific all the time. and we've played against him a bunch and he's been good. The passing numbers in Madden these days do seem pretty inflated, but just a few years ago it was hard to get somebody over 4,000 yards sometimes, so this is better. Looks like a decent first year starting for Ryan Hopkins. Pretty similar numbers to Thomas Rosenberg actually. Curious what playbook Mahomes is using now that Reed has retired. And here's the quarterback we'll face in the wildcard round. It's Maxwell Wilson. Now, take a good hard look at his ratings. He's a 69 overall improviser. He has 87 throw power, all his accuracies are under 80, and his awareness is below 70. And now realize that this guy put up moderately better numbers than Lamar Jackson did. It's like 140 more yards, 21 fewer attempts, same number of touchdowns with 1 fewer interceptions, and completion percentage is 4 points higher. Brock Purdy threw 20 fewer interceptions than the last guy to throw passes for the Colts. Looks like Zach Wilson got some playing time this year as Brett Bailey was hurt for a while. Actually had a little better rating. Blackman, of course, missed time, and Kyler Murray hit almost 3,800 yards despite missing the last few games of the year. So rookie Isaac Rowe got some playing time. Murray's slated to miss one more week with a broken collarbone, but Rowe is coming off 360, 3 touchdowns, and no picks in a win against the Bengals. If they start the playoffs with a win, we'll see if they keep him in. Meanwhile, Jonathan Taylor led the league in rushing yards. Breece Hall actually slightly higher yards per carry. Looks like Taylor and McCaffrey are probably tied for the touchdowns lead. CMC, of course, we will see in the next game. 1,500 yards and 19 touchdowns. More through the air as well, I'm sure. Najee Harris didn't have a touchdown against us, and I think didn't in his last 2 games either, so he misses out on another touchdowns title. Plenty of yards for Terry French, only 5 touchdowns though. Only slightly better yards per carry than McDowell. 5 fumbles for ETN. Looks like a bit of a down year for Hurst. Switching over to receiving yards, Sammy Rice leads the league in his 8th year, and he's only an 82 overall, coming up on an 83, and his ratings are super imbalanced. 81 slot, but only 75 playmaker for his second best archetype, and 71 physical. All he can really do is run short routes. But he's on the Rams, so I guess the game just decided, oh, you're in the Cooper Kupp role? Well, now you play like Cooper Kupp. Great year for Garrett Wilson. Looks like he may have led the league in receiving touchdowns as well. Bit of a drop-off for Michael Gillespie. Over 1,200 for Kadarius Toney, who we'll see next week. Another guy over 1,000 for the Giants in Danny Boone. It might partially be due to the proliferation of the quote-unquote good playbooks, but you do get a lot of receivers over 1,000 yards with the way the sim works right now. Probably didn't need to scroll quite as far as I did here, but I wanted to see if Madison Samuel hit 1,000, and he did. Irv Smith, the only tight end to hit that mark, not far behind him his replacement, TJ Hawkinson, and a decent year for Keegan Talley, who went I think number 5 overall a couple years ago. Didn't get to play his rookie season, so hasn't developed great, unfortunately. Finney topped the league in total tackles, pretty far off in solo tackles, but was second in TFLs. Here are your sack leaders, although do note this is missing anyone not on the top 100 tacklers, or however that works. Pretty good year for Eric Lamb, although down from last year. Devontae Davis ended up with 12.5, so finished a lot stronger than he started. He got only his second sack in their game against us, and that was a number of games into the season. Forgot to look at Lamb, but after 2 years, up to a 94 with 97 finesse moves. Chad Simmons tied for the league lead in interceptions. Nick Bolton at middle linebacker also had 7. And I noticed, I think it was after the first episode, he had 6 interceptions, which is nuts. That is going to do it for this episode, though. Right now, I think this episode will come out probably on the 4th of July, so the playoff episode should be out soon. So we're going to try a new one for the first playoff game. If we're lucky, maybe we'll win a couple and get that second ability unlocked, as well as some new options. I think I just went for short flat knockout. Anyway, should have the playoffs ready by the end of the week. Having a whole lot of fun with Dylan Finney, having a whole lot of frustrations with the rest of the Falcons team. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, I'm Nose, see you next time on Rookie Watch.